What's up, YouTube? Welcome to Jason Bytes Back, episode number 11, the series of which where I respond to comment and or answer some questions. Plex is awesome and everything, but if you really want to squeeze the most features out of your Plex media server, you can get a Plex Pass. Now, while there are many benefits to having a Plex Pass versus a free user account, my favorite one is getting early access to new features that Plex has not yet released to the general public. So if you're like me and you want to try out those new features, check out the description down below. Down there, you can either purchase a Plex Pass for yourself or a friend, and hey, if you don't have a free account, use my link as well. It helps me out. So check out the description down below to get your Plex Pass today. Before I jump into the video, I do want to say thank you to all of my Patreon subscribers. I will be listing you at the end of this video, so look out for that shout out in the end. Also, for those of you who are interested, I might throw in a couple videos at the end as well, showing my weekend, of which I went to Disney, Oklahoma and played around on some four-wheelers. That was fun. But anyways, today let's just jump right in because I don't really have a lot of channel updates or anything to say for like a prerequisite to this whole Jason Bytes Back thing. So jumping right into the questions. The first question that I have is from Natalatable. Why two Plex servers? You cannot combine them and they're always having to switch. It's inconvenient. I picked this question because it was actually asked multiple times from different people, so I wanted to address it. And my simple answer is, I don't know. But if I had to theorize here, I would say it probably would have something to do with load balancing. For example, if you wanted to break your libraries up into two different servers, maybe one with movies and one with TV shows, that would allow you to have two less powerful servers just in the event that multiple people wanted to watch your content. Personally, I don't see this as a benefit because I would much rather just spend a little bit more money and have one server capable of handling everything, but I could see where people might just be working with what they have. I mean, you could literally install Plex on like a laptop if you wanted to, and just a spare computer and try to load balance as much as you could in order to get the most performance that you can afford. At the end of the day, people have what they have, and I don't really have a solid answer for that. So next question is from Vincent. I have a question. I have my home server with Plex Media Server running on it. Right now, I have one client in the master bedroom, one in the living room. I'm planning to have one more in the kids' room. Is there any way to have a trimmed down library for them? That is actually a very good question and definitely something possible if you have a Plex Pass. If not, use my links below. I get credit. If you have a Plex Pass, you can actually enable Plex Home. I will link in the description down below so you can follow instructions and see exactly what it can do. But I know that you can have different user profiles. And in these profiles, you can actually limit the content they could see, whether it's the libraries or like a PG-13 limitation, that sort of thing. So follow links down below. I won't go into it in this video because it's way too long to explain, but it is definitely something that's possible. So look into that. Next question, David Wing. Jason, now that have a man-sized GPU, could you now try Plex hardware acceleration again, but could you turn some CPU cores off on your server to give more life results? I think this might have been before I did an update video. I'm not sure as far as that Plex hardware transcoding with the 980 Ti. And honestly, it doesn't actually matter if I turned off any cores because as I verified some of my concerns with the GPU transcoding is that NVIDIA actually limits to two transcoded streams at the same time. So in my test, it's basically like how much faster is it going to start transcoding a 4K video file? You know, that sort of thing. If you want to learn more, I will throw it up in the cards above if you want a little bit of insight on Plex hardware transcoding, but ultimately disabling some CPU cores wouldn't really make a difference because I'm not testing the server's ability to handle additional transcoding streams on top of the GPU. I was only testing the GPU. Next question is from Eagle One Foxtrot. Wait, is that from a movie? Do you need a VPN with Plex? Don't worry, I'm not after a shirt. Yeah, it's weird. Like one person actually wanted a shirt. That's Finn. So by the way, Finn, I'm probably going to order that shirt here pretty soon. I was kind of giving people time, but yeah. As far as a VPN with Plex, I don't know why you would need a VPN with Plex. As far as I know, and I'm not an ISP, so I don't know, ISP is only going to track torrenting traffic if they wanted to, as far as whether or not you're sharing or downloading illegal content. I've personally never ran into any issues with not using a VPN with Plex, and I would think that there's probably going to be some issues as far as making sure that you can get a VPN that handles port forwarding correctly, so your Plex server could be recognized off network. So you don't need a VPN for Plex, but you might need a VPN to get content for Plex if that's the type of person you are. Next question is from Prophet Beal. Do you have any oddities with pfSense and Plex on your local network? I got my port 40 set up, blah, 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 security connections, have issues. Okay. Honestly, when I went through and I set up my pfSense box, not only did I have to set up port 40, but I do kind of sort of remember having to set up a rule in the NAT or the firewall in order to allow traffic to go to my server through that port. And I think I might have had the same issue where I was getting some connectivity issues before I set up that rule. So I would probably look at setting up firewall rules in order to allow your Plex access to the internet without any kind of limitations. I'm not saying that is the best answer, but I think I remember something vaguely related to that. Next question is from Rimmel Ikorura. LOL, you don't need an SSD for Plex, nor will improve your transcoding. What Plex do is it transcode video and place it to the RAM. I just wanted to bring this up because it's like totally not true. I've made some videos where I covered utilizing Plex as a transcoding directory, and I think I even made one as the Plex data directory, and I made one for Plex RAM transcoding. And yes, technically, once the transcode has been initiated, you're really not gonna have any bottlenecks, utilizing a hard drive for your temporary transcoding folder. But it's that initial transcoding initialization. That's setting that file up, starting it, fast forwarding and backing up, that sort of thing. It's those random read and writes, that's where an SSD comes in, and that's how it can speed up your Plex transcoding. As far as transcoding it to the RAM, yes, that's technically possible. It's not always automatic. In fact, on my Unraid, I had to set it up and I had to go through some links in order to get it set up on a Windows server as well. So it is possible, but it's not an automatic thing. Next one is from Custom Computing. Can you please do a video regarding the upload required for 1080p direct stream and what upload speeds you need for bandwidth? I have blah, 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 blah. Well, I might make a video on this later, maybe in a Plex Bits or something like that, but I did want to address this question. Really, you just have to look at the bit rates on your video. While a video file is actually much more complicated than what I'm about to say, I do want to break this down as simply as possible. So with the video file, you have two major things. You have a resolution and you have a bit rate. The resolution is going to be things like 480p, 720p, 1080p, etc. Whereas the bit rate is going to control the actual quality of that resolution. So to throw an example out there, if you have a 1080p file, but it's only running at like half a megabit per second, it's going to be a horrible quality video. But if you were to have, let's say, a 720 video running at, I don't know, 20 megabits per second, it's going to be a much better quality video. But in the real world, usually when a resolution goes up, the bit rate goes up to compensate for that. So 720 at like 5 megabits per second, and then you go up to 1080, and that would be like 10 megabits per second. It could be whatever you want to, I'm just throwing out examples. The point I'm trying to make as far as direct stream is that bit rate is what counts. So if your raw files are all stored as, let's say, 10 megabit files, and somebody wants to direct stream that over the internet, that's going to use 10 megabits per second in order to transfer that video file in a direct stream. You can get around this by pre-transcoding your files through the optimization feature in Plex if you wanted to lower that bitrate to enable more direct streams without putting more strain on your server. But really, you're just pre-transcoding at that point. All it is going to save you CPU horsepower. The next comment is from Kevin Bellinger. I like you. Aw, thanks. Next comment is from David Redden. I want to beat the shit out of you after watching this. Aw, thanks. Next question is from Arturo Vazquez. Do you know if Plex Media Player Embedded will play all media natively without transcoding? I couldn't find a definite answer in the Plex forums. Apparently, blah, blah, blah. I'm curious because of Raspberry Pi. Okay. Yes, it should. Basically, in my experience, when I ran the Plex Embedded OS, it pretty much defaulted to direct play all the time. I think it might have transcoded some of the audio on some of the files that I was playing that I was still direct playing the video, but I think for the most part it is going to direct play as much as possible. The thing about Raspberry Pi is, one, it is super cheap to get into, so if you did want to test it, you're not going to be out too much money, and two, if the transcoding is just not supported, if I remember right, when it comes to Plex, it just won't be an option. So if you start to play the video and it is incapable of direct playing for whatever reason, it just won't play. So with that being said, the Plex Media Player should automatically direct play those files, and theoretically, you shouldn't have any issues. But take that with a grain of salt. All I'm going off is me running the Plex Embedded OS. I have not actually utilized a Raspberry Pi, so I'm just basically theorizing here, adding the puzzles together sort of thing. But my best guess would to say, yes, you should be fine as long as your network can handle the direct play files. Next question is non-existent. Okay. Well, that's a quick one for this month, guys. Thank you for watching it. Again, if you guys have any questions and you want to be featured in the next video, as long as they're good questions, post them down below. I check on this video first every time I do the next one. If I don't find anything good, then I start going through the comments in the general section and look for other questions that maybe other people asked on other videos. So again, big shout out to all of my Patreon subscribers. Thank you for subscribing and giving me money. I have no idea why you do it, but you do, so I love you for it. And I will definitely post your names after this video, so thank you. Thank you, thank you. As always, guys, like and subscribe below and have yourself a good night.
Disney, Oklahoma. Crawling around in some four-wheelers. I got my little pleb